We're only a few days into the brand new year 2023 and there seems to be no shortage of issues that gravely impacts the people. There is a risk of electricity tariffs going up again by a substantial amount, and also local government polls are looming around. In the meantime, former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has also returned to Sri Lanka after a brief vacation. Good evening, this is Primetime News on TV1. We've got the details of these stories and much more lined up for you tonight. First, we'll look at your top stories.
Wasantha Mudalige behind bars for 139 days and back in remand custody for a separate charge. Police say no to Wasantha's supporters due to Easter attacks case. Court rejects request for bail by Easter attack suspects. Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa returns from Dubai holiday. Aragale activist arrested at the airport following return from Dubai. POCSL maintains strong position against the electricity tariff hike. Opposition raises concerns over attempts to delay local government election.
You are totally misleading the house. You are unaware of what is happening.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna launches election campaign.
And now on to those stories in detail. Two demonstrations took place in Colombo on Thursday demanding the immediate release of Inter-University Students' Federation convener Wasantha Mudalige. Student activists from the Inter-University Students' Federation and Aragale activists gathered at the technical junction in Maradana on Thursday afternoon to demand the release of Wasantha Mudalige. However, Sri Lanka police did not permit any protest.
Do not pass this area. The Easter attacks case starts at 1:30 p.m. A large number of accused men will be brought here under heavy police protection. Security is tight all over. You can remain here, but you cannot engage in a procession because you have no permission. Thereafter, the group staged a silent protest opposite the Attorney General's department. There is no evidence to substantiate the charges. They may even harm Wasantha to cover up the incompetence of the Terrorism Investigation Division. It is the Attorney General who needs to decide whether bail will be granted or rejected to Wasantha. He is the government attorney. He decides that only 60% of the investigations are complete and 40% are pending. Just because you fail to file evidence, do not delay this.
The group dispersed after about an hour.
The convener of the Inter-University Students' Federation, Wasantha Mudalige, was produced to Colombo Court Magistrate Tilina Gamage on Thursday. He faces several charges, including refusing to accept a court order on a protest dated on the 19th of May 2022 opposite the Fort Railway Station and obstructing the duties of police officers. Wasantha Mudalige was further remanded to the 13th of January 2023.
Police filed a motion with the court for this case to be taken up in order to obtain a statement from Wasantha Mudalige. The case was filed relating to a protest that took place on the 19th of May 2022. The charges are under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. It is clear they are filing cases under the PTA to further detain people like Wasantha Mudalige.
නඩුවක් ගොනු කරන්නෙම මේ වගේ අනිකුත් නඩු තිබියදී මේ වසන්ත මුදලිගේ යන අයව රඳවා තබා ගැනීමේ අරමුණින් කියන එක තවත් පැහැදිලි වෙනවා.
It's been 139 days since Wasantha Mudalige was arrested by Sri Lankan authorities. He was arrested on the 18th of August 2022 and on the 20th of August he was detained under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. From then until the 17th of November 2022, Mudalige was detained under the PTA for 90 days at the Colombo and Tangol detention centres. Since the 17th of November, after Wasantha Mudalige was produced in court, he remains in remand custody on charges falling under the Prevention of Terrorism Act. He was produced in court on Thursday for a separate case relating to the 19th of May 2022 demonstration in Colombo. Former Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa returned to Sri Lanka on Thursday morning following a private visit to Dubai. 5 members of the former First Family, led by former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, left for Dubai on the 26th of December 2022. The former First Family left for Dubai via the VIP lounge at the Katunayake airport and were expected to travel to the United States of America thereafter. The Hindustan Times recently reported that Sri Lanka's ousted President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had applied for restoration of his US citizenship, although the US government is yet to consider the request. In 2019, Rajapaksa renounced his US citizenship to contest the 2019 presidential polls. Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was pictured at Dubai's private theme park with the owner Saif Ahmed Belhassa and several animals. Theme Park is an exotic animal farm owned by Emirati entrepreneur Saif Ahmed Belhassa.
Arugale activist Randimal Gamage was arrested at the Katunayake airport on Thursday following his return to the country from Dubai. He was arrested for illegally entering the Sri Lanka Rupawahini Corporation.
බයනම් අරගල කරන්නේ නැහැ නැත්නම් මල්ලි කන්ජි පාන ඉන්දියාවේ රටේ පුරවැසියෙකුට රටට එතුරු වෙන්න බෑ අපේ සහෝදරයන් අත්අඩංගුවට ගන්න හැටි පේනවනේ නේද රට වෙනුවෙන් කතා කරලා කන්ජපාන ඉන්දියාවේ තින්නේ සැප විඳිනවා ඉරගෙදර කන්ජි පාන කියුවේ ඉන්දියාවෙන් දෙනකන් යන්නේ කාලි කපා සෙතරුවපා පාරදිගේ අපි යනවා
Sri Lanka police said an overseas travel ban was imposed on Gamage with regard to the matter. Randimal Gamage was then taken to the Cinnamon Gardens police and was produced before the Colombo Chief Judicial Medical Officer. Thereafter, he was produced to the Hulsdorf Chief Magistrate. Court ordered for the suspect to be released on 2 personal bails of 100,000 rupees. The case will be taken up again on the 9th of January 2023. Wanted drug trafficker Kanchipani Imran is on the run from Sri Lankan authorities, and the Q branch of the Tamil Nadu police are actively searching for whether he is hiding in Tamil Nadu. The Q branch is one of the criminal investigation department wings of the Tamil Nadu police. Lookout notices have been issued to all airports to prevent the criminal from fleeing abroad. The Sri Lankan government has also sought India's help to capture Imran. The Central Intelligence Agency has also warned the Tamil Nadu government in this regard. An intensive search is being conducted in 14 coastal districts of Tamil Nadu and fishing village areas. Q branch officers told Indian media that its personnel are questioning several local people and fishermen to determine if Imran had sneaked into Rameswaram.
Drug trafficker Kanjipani Imran fled the country recently, shortly after posting bail. The government was going on about the State Intelligence Service. They said Saleh was in charge of state intelligence and therefore all the intelligence services are complete and at high standards. When I was restructuring the military, Saleh was set aside from the intelligence arm. When your government was elected, he became a notable figure. If Saleh is talented as you claim, we have concerns as to how did Kanjipani flee the country 24 hours after posting bail. Are they performing their duties? Who is Wasantha Mudalige? He is just a university student. The rulers of this country are afraid of their students. The politicians fear the Aragalaya. The Aragalaya does not exist at Galface Green alone. It has been accepted by your very own families as well.
Will elections be held before the 10th of March 2023? 65 days more.
The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna started placing cash bonds for the local government election from Kalutara on Thursday. This was led by parliamentarian Namal Rajapaksa.
Parliamentarians from the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna worshipped the Kalutara Bo tree for blessings and thereafter placed their bonds at 10:33 am for the local government elections. SLPP MP spoke to the media after the bonds for the elections were placed.
As a political party, it is our duty and responsibility to create an environment suitable for nominations and be prepared for it. The opposition must also follow the same process and be prepared to face the election. There is no point in yelling out. The government must decide whether an election will take place or not. The government, the president and the cabinet can consider the economic situation in the country and reach a decision. The Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna is ready to win the highest number of local government bodies, just as it did on the 10th of February in 2018. We have reached agreements with some parties. We are continuing our discussions. However, the alliance will most likely contest as the SLPP and under the symbol of the flower bud.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna නාමය සහ පොහොට්ටුව ලකුණයට. ඒක අපි තාම එහෙම
We have not reached a decision yet. Both parties are engaged in talks. If both sides can agree on our policy and program, there may be a unification.
ඉදිරි වැඩපිළිවෙල සමග දෙපාර්ශ්වයට එකඟ වෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් එකතු වීමක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. කවදාත් මැතිවරණින් පැනලා ගිය
Mahinda Rajapaksa's group has never shied away from the election. We are not a party that fears elections. We do not pursue elections as well.
නැති මැතිවරණට පැනලා යන අයත් නෙමෙයි අපි. ඔබතුමාලා බය නැහැ කියලා අනිත් පැය පෙන්නන්නද මේ අද කලින්ම බයයට 아무තෙන් අපි
According to the Elections Commission, cash bonds for the local government election needs to be placed by 12 noon on the 20th of January. Nominations will be accepted from the 18th of January to 12 noon on the 21st of January.
Former UNP Member of Parliament Samman Ratnapriya says that calling for elections will place Sri Lanka in a state of confusion.
I do not believe that there is a serious issue in terms of democracy in the country. If around 2,000 people from among 22 million people step out demanding an election, that is not a call for a mandate. The country is in a crisis. The Election Commission must also understand the gravity of the issue. 60,000 million rupees is required for food and another 320 million rupees is required for medicine. Another 1,362 million rupees is required for fuel. For 3 months, salaries were paid by printing money. Now they want to print money and conduct an election. There is no issue in wanting to protect democracy. This is going to place the country in a state of confusion.
Sri Lanka's opposition continues to point out that the government is attempting to delay the elections. The parliament was set to meet on the 17th of January for the new year. However, the House met on Thursday the 5th for first time in 2023. The opposition raised concerns regarding two matters related to local government elections. One is the Deputy Speaker's announcement to Parliament that a petition had been filed with the Supreme Court seeking a writ order against the local government election. Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena, as the subject minister, tabled the ministry observations on MP Premanatsi Dolawatha's private members' bill to increase youth representation to local government institutions. The opposition noted that both these moves can be constructed as attempts to delay elections.
I am thankful to the Prime Minister for awarding the 25% representation to youth below the age of 35. 6 months ago, the same proposal was brought forward by Imtiaz Bakir Makar. Disregarding that, the proposal which was brought forward in November was put forward. This is disgraceful.
You are totally misleading the House. You are unaware of what is happening.
MP Dolawatha presented his first report. Next, we have the other standing order for the minister to produce his report. The first proposal is from Imtiaz Bakir Makar. He is not here. The second is from Premanatsi Dolawatha. That is why I said he is making silly statements. This act is a good move. However, this should have been done when the elections were delayed last year. Elections have been announced. So these are attempts being made to delay the elections. We oppose that. We have only 2 weeks and we are preparing nominations. This proposal is calling for fresh youth representation. If this is passed before nominations are accepted, there will be an issue. It would make it difficult for the Election Commission to go ahead with the election. We support the motion by MP Dolawatha. We have discussed what more needs to be included. However, all of those facts should not be applied to this election. It becomes law after it is passed by the Parliament and when the Speaker certifies it. This process will take place for at least 2 months. We must act based on the standing orders. I do not understand why there is an urgency for this.
Many
are concerned if the government will allow for the election process to continue based on how it was announced. I wish to ask the Justice Minister where the election will take place as scheduled to appoint these local government bodies on time, with the government providing all the facilities and provisions without delay. The government nor the Parliament has the power to amend any decision made by the Elections Commission. We will not interfere with their activities and we will not try to amend their agenda. We have never reached such a decision and have not communicated to them of any such matter. The National Election Commission, which is an independent body, must continue with its operations.
Parliament was scheduled to convene on the 17th of January. However, the session was called for Thursday the 5th, citing the need to secure the passage for the Bureau of Rehabilitation Bill. It was said that this bill would even pave the way to crack down on the Aragale activists. However, the government delayed the passage of the bill in Parliament.
This is a bill that was introduced to crack down on youth groups that adopt democratic and peaceful struggles. We have informed the Supreme Court that we will remove all those sections. This is aimed at those who are addicted to drugs. We hope to present this for the second reading on the 19th with amendments.
Will elections be held before the 10th of March 2023? 65 days more.
There is strong opposition against the decision to increase electricity tariffs again. The Public Utilities Commission stressed that if electricity tariffs are increased, disregarding the Commission will take steps to veto such a decision.
The
proposal submitted to Cabinet has no factual basis. This Cabinet paper was presented based on the presentation made by the General Manager, an engineer and the Secretary of the Ministry of Power and Energy. We can see that this is an illegal proposal with no factual basis. There are many contradictions in it. There can be no amendment to the electricity tariffs based on mistaken facts. They have given a wrong interpretation to the Act by saying that the Minister can present a proposal to increase electricity tariffs under general policy guidelines. We are of the opinion that such an interpretation cannot be given to the Act.
ඕනෙම වැරදි අර්ථකථනයක් ගිල තියෙන පනතට ඒ අනුව අපි හිතනවා අපේ තියෙන දැනුම සහ අපිට ලැබුණු නීති උපදෙස් අනුව මෙහෙම දෙයක් මේ වගේ අර්ථකථනයක් කරන්න බෑ කියන පදනමේ තමයි ඉන්නේ. අධිකරණ ක්‍රියාවලියක හරි මේ එහෙම යන්න බලාපොරොත්තුවක් තාම නැද්ද? නෑ අධිකරණ ක්‍රියාමාර්ගය ගැනීමට උවමනා. There is no reason for us to go to court because we have a veto power to reject this. So why should we go to court? If there is a need to go to court, I believe there are many people waiting to go to court, but we believe that there is no need to go to court because we have the power to veto such a decision.
The program to collect 6.9 million signatures against the proposed electricity tariff hike, organised by the Electricity Users Association and the National Committee for Energy Conservation, entered its 5th day in Dewlapitiya.
The duty on fuel has been increased from 13 rupees to 38 rupees. The duty on diesel was increased from 27 rupees to 52 rupees. Kanchan and the Cabinet have become the pickpockets of the government. A group of members representing the Lanka Janata Party performed a ritual opposite the Ministry of Power and Energy, demanding the proposed tariff hike be withdrawn.
The opposition against the income being increased from 6% to 36% for income above 100,000 rupees continues.
If we do not get a satisfactory response, we will continue to strengthen the action taken against this decision as the Government Medical Officers Association and as professionals, and we will not hesitate to speak in a much more harsh language that the government understands. When we as professionals obtained a loan, we had an expectation that we will have a certain level of income. We had a legitimate expectation that we can live our lives with this amount of money. But what did the government do? They had breached that legitimate expectation. Therefore, we asked the government that if they are amending taxes, amend the tax administration and everything that goes with it. As university lecturers, we will have to take strict action in the future.
Why not tax those who earn a higher income? That is the opinion among some people. However, the issue must be understood more deeply. With the high inflation in the country, the value of Sri Lankan rupees is now low. We can all feel that. On the other hand, people's income has not increased. What will happen when a massive tax is imposed on top of all of this? People's purchasing power to acquire goods and services reduces. That does not only affect them, this affects everyone. The professionals are pointing out this issue and not their unwillingness to pay taxes.
Tax concessions that favor crony businessmen, inept decisions like the fertilizer ban, tender scams, failure to make monetary decisions on time, and the delay in seeking IMF support. Are the people of Sri Lanka to blame for these mistakes? Or was it the fault of policymakers? The issue now is the fact that the people of Sri Lanka are paying the price. Proposals are made to increase electricity tariffs that were already increased once. Taxes upon taxes, rapidly increasing cost of goods. The people are suffering on all fronts. The food provided free of charge to about 1.1 million children in schools is also now at risk. On the one hand, with the skyrocketing prices of goods, the amount of money allocated per meal is insufficient.
On the other hand, the suppliers who provide food to these children have not been paid.
The market price of an egg is 65 rupees. We are only paid 85 rupees per meal. We would like to ask if the remaining 20 rupees is enough for the rest of the meal. Ask the government to give us some sort of concession. We need an egg to provide the children with a nutritious meal. The children must be fed properly. Children cannot pursue their education in hunger.
Convening a media briefing today, the Ceylon Teachers Union stressed on the gravity of the issue.
They only paid 60 rupees for this nutrition program. Until the 31st of December 2022, they had given approval to pay 100 rupees per child. The suppliers for this nutrition program are some of the beneficiaries. They do not have money. They can only continue this nutrition program if they receive funds. The suppliers have not been paid for 3 months. How can they supply food this year? They are facing a serious crisis. If these funds are not released, this nutrition program will stop, and it will cause an increase in the levels of malnutrition among children.
Children are the future of the country. Shouldn't this issue be resolved immediately?
A Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna member of parliament raised the privilege issue in the House.
I have no place to stay in the village and have been left helpless. I have no way of rebuilding a house. Expedite the process of awarding the mansions. Where do we have the money to rebuild the houses? I will have to go back to Sri Lankan Airlines for employment. It's been over 5 months since Karan Nagoda's report was prepared. Why is it not being produced to Parliament? Who is responsible for this? When my house was set on fire, there were around 20 police officers. An army camp is located 4 kilometers away from my home. There's an air force camp some 10 kilometers away. Though we engage in politics, are we not citizens of this country? Of the 23 people who were arrested, 14 of them were strong JVP activists. There will be a natural justice.
A Colombo court rejected a request of bail made on behalf of the Easter Sunday attack suspects.
The Colombo Permanent High Court trial at bar rejected the request for bail made on behalf of 25 suspects, including Naufur Maulavi, who are charged under 13,270 counts in relation to the 2019 Easter Sunday terror attacks. The case was called up in the presence of Justices Damit Totavatta, Amal Ranaraja and Navaratna Marasinghe. Further examination of this case will take place on the 1st of February 2023.
Ranjit Hapuarachi, the Commissioner General of Inland Revenue, highlighted the importance of a strong tax administration.
Misconduct practices in the world, we can identify under 3 categories: bribery, corruption and nepotism. Even in tax administrations, all these 3 things are happening. Nepotism means not really relatives. There are colleagues, and so the nepotism is also happening. To reducing those things to a possible minimum level is also a good, very important component of a sound tax administration. Even with the good policy, when the tax administration is weak, you can't take the expected revenue. So there are issues. In a corruptive system, a single entity cannot work against that.
News First with the people.
Litrogas announced that the prices of cooking gas cylinders will be reduced with effect from Thursday night. Here's the chairman of Litro, Mudita Piris, elaborating on the price revision.
Reducing the 12-point gas cylinder by 201 rupees. Current price of a 12.5 cylinder is 4,610 rupees, and from midnight today it will be 4,409 rupees. The current price of a 5 kg cylinder is 1,850, and from midnight today it will be 1,770, and also 2.3, the current pricing is 860 rupees. From midnight today will be selling at 822 rupees. This all pricing revision will affect midnight, that is 5th of January.
Today is the 73rd birthday of Venerable Barnacle Upatishathera, the President of the Mahabodhi Society of Sri Lanka and the Chief Sanganayaka of Japan. Events to mark this occasion were held in Sri Lanka, Japan and several other countries.
Religious events took place at the Lankaji temple, where Venerable Barnacle Upatishathera is currently staying.
People celebrate their birthdays in different ways. I never thought of celebrating my birthday. However, my students, colleagues and others organize my birthday events. On my birthday, I always wanted to do something that will be remembered forever.
Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe, in his birthday wish to Venerable Barnacle Upatishathera, had wished him good health. The birthday message was delivered by Sports Minister Roshan Ranasinghe. The foundation stone for the construction of the Sugandha Hall at the Mahabodhi Agrasravaka Mahaviharaya was placed to mark the birthday of Venerable Barnacle Upatishathera. The Mahasangha, led by Venerable Dr. Bodhagama Chandimathero, the Vice-Chancellor of the Nagahananda International Institute for Buddhist Studies and Chief Sanganayaka in Taiwan, attended the event. MP Yadamini Gunawardana, Secretary of the Mahabodhi Society of Sri Lanka Dilshan Jayasuriya and Chairman of the Capital Maharaja Group Sashi Rajamahendran also attended the event.
I must make a special mention about the late Mr. R. Rajamahendran, the father of Sashi Rajamahendran. Plans are drawn twice to complete this project. We need to complete construction of the Agrashravaka Hall. When the Vesak Poya dawns, we will be taking the relics out of the enclosure. If this construction is complete by then, it would bring great joy to our Nayakatero.
In a tweet, Sri Lankan Ambassador to the United States Mahinda Samarasinghe said that the Embassy of Sri Lanka in Washington, D.C. in cooperation with the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Agency in Colombo has secured a job order for 550 Sri Lankans to work in the United States. Now this includes 250 registered nurses, 100 lab technicians and 200 nursing assistants. The ambassador also tweeted that the recruitment process for this is currently underway.
When you don't have sufficient economic or employment opportunities in the country, it is natural for people to look at opportunities outside of the country in this global economy. But the concern is if we have invested in their education, then losing them in their productive years will be a loss to Sri Lanka. But however, given the situation of the country right now, if we do not have capacity or opportunities to successfully employ them or give them satisfactory job opportunities, rather than retaining an unsuccessful or unsatisfied group of people back in home, I think it's logical to give them opportunities outside of the country and give them room to grow, and hopefully they will contribute back to the economy, the Sri Lankan economy. But there is one catch. It is often assumed that when you send people out of the country, that they will automatically send a flow of remittances back into the country. That is too much of an assumption, because you need to understand what type of people are leaving the country, whether they are leaving alone or with the family, whether they have reasons to remit back to the country. So if we do not understand these dynamics and simply assuming that sending people equals receiving remittances, there is a danger in there. Unless we have proper mechanisms to keep them invested back in Sri Lanka also, and a mechanism to attract their remittances, losing them out altogether to another country will be a loss to Sri Lanka.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe, in his capacity as the Finance Minister, appointed Ronald Pereira, President's Counsel, as Chairman of the Bank of Ceylon. Ronald Pereira held the position of Chairman of the Bank of Ceylon from January 2015 until November 2019. On the 1st of August 2022, Ronald Pereira was appointed as the Chairman of Sri Lanka Insurance Corporation. Ronald Pereira was appointed as a President's Counsel in the year 2012. The International Conference on Multidisciplinary Research, or ICMR 2023, was held in Barnacle yesterday. Speaking at the conference, Indian High Commissioner Gopal Bagle commented on India's support to Sri Lanka.
India's commitment to world as one family is nowhere exhibited more than right now in Sri Lanka. The government of India has already stepped forward in the times of needs of our Sri Lankan brothers and sisters with economic and financial assistance worth $, about 3.8 billion in last year alone. This includes credit lines for fuel, essential items, fertilizers, food, as well as currency swaps and deferment of payments under Asian Clearing Union mechanism. On the humanitarian side, medicines, kerosene, rice, milk powder, liquid medical oxygen, testing kits for COVID-19 and dry rations have been donated by Indian people and organizations for their Sri Lankan brothers and sisters.
Thousands of mourners gathered in St. Peters Square at the Vatican for the funeral of former Pope Benedict XVI.
The funeral mass was led by Pope Francis, and many European royals and thousands of clerics attended the event. It is unprecedented in modern times for a living pope to bury his predecessor. In February 2013, Pope Benedict XVI became the first pope in 600 years to abdicate. Since that time, he had been living in Vatican City as Pope Emeritus. For the first time in many hundreds of years, the Vatican held a funeral service for a former pope presided over by the present pope. On the 31st of December 2022, Pope Benedict died at the age of 95. Though he was no longer the pope, he was a Pope Emeritus. Therefore, his funeral followed the same guidelines for an active pope as laid out in the funeral rites of the Roman Pontiff. The service began after 3 days in which Benedict's body, dressed in robes and clutching rosary beads, had been on display, allowing tens of thousands of mourners to file past. Led by Pope Francis, the service included traditional elements as well as some that were individual to this funeral. Part of the ritual of burying a pope includes the ritual of 3 coffins. The first is a cypress wood coffin, and it symbolizes humility and that the Pope was an ordinary human being. Included in the coffin will be a copy of the funeral mass and bags of gold, silver and copper coins. The number of coins in each bag match the number of years he was Pope. The cypress coffin is then put into a lead coffin. Included in this coffin is a copy of documents he issued under his papal seal. The lead coffin will shoulder shut and have his name, dates of the papacy, and a skull of crossbones engraved on top. The third and final coffin is an elm coffin. Elm is rare in Rome and is meant to represent dignity. This coffin includes a parchment in a copper tube with a list of the pontiff's achievements. This coffin is then sealed with golden nails. He was buried in the crypt beneath St. Peter's Basilica in an area that was once occupied by the coffin of his predecessor, Pope John Paul II. Only 2 international delegations were formally invited from Italy, in which the Vatican rests, and from Germany, home country of Benedict, who was formerly known as Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger.
Romanian authorities have seized a collection of cars belonging to social media influencer Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan.
It comes days after the 36-year-old self-avowed success coach was arrested as a part of a human trafficking investigation. Tate, who once appeared briefly on Big Brother, has referred to married women as property that their husbands own. Romanian authorities seized the car collection, estimated to be worth over 5 million euros, as well as a number of buildings, including one where the brothers lived and allegedly held 6 young women, according to local news reports. A Bugatti Chiron, a Rolls-Royce, 2 Ferraris and a Porsche were seized. Tate, who has been banned from a number of social media platforms for infringing rules, posted about his car collection in a tweet targeting climate activist Greta Thunberg. Her unimpressed response went viral, garnering nearly 4 million likes and 300 million views.
Authorities in Iran have released a top actress who was arrested last month after expressing solidarity with anti-government protesters. Taraneh Alidosti was pictured being greeted by friends outside Tehran's Evin prison. Her hair covered, the 38-year-old star was freed on bail after being accused of posting inflammatory content. She had posted a picture on social media without a headscarf and condemned the first execution of a protester. Many Iranian actors, musicians and other celebrities have publicly backed the protests against the clerical establishment. Moving on in more international news, Prince Harry has accused his brother William of physically assaulting him during an argument over his wife Meghan. The Guardian UK newspaper claims to have seen an advance copy of Prince Harry's highly anticipated memoir, Space, in which Harry, the Duke of Sussex, reportedly alleges that William, the Prince of Wales, knocked him to the floor during the altercation. The Guardian article focuses on the alleged physical altercation between the brothers, but describes the entirety of the book as a remarkable volume. St. Peters College Rugby announced that its affiliation with Nuco UK, who will come on board at the 2023 season platinum sponsor. The official announcement was made in Colombo.
We are very grateful to Mr. Trishan Satyadev for coming forward, especially this evening, to sponsor St. Peters Rugby. But we know the rugby is a very expensive game in today's context, especially in Sri Lanka. I also must say this, it's not just St. Peters who would be benefiting from NAPCO UK. They are here in big time to support even Sri Lanka's economy. And that's why we are ever grateful to you, Mr. Trishan. I know your valuable contribution to St. Peters College is appreciated, but at the same time, your contribution towards our country, especially in a moment that when Sri Lanka is going through tough times, I'm sure Sri Lankans would welcome you with open arms.
Me being a Sri Lankan, with all the economic crisis in Sri Lanka, I was very adamant that I must contribute something to the country, contribute something to the schools and the economy as a result. So we decided we do it this year, and I'm very honored and very happy that we've started our journey together, and hopefully this is the first year of many years.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the Newsfirst team. Take care and God bless.